Yes, we are here. We are here. We're here. We want to say we are here always. And we are, of course, of service. And we want everyone to be able to have the ability to have the capacity to go within. Uh, we see many who are not able to go within for various reasons. And today we want to talk about the block of being able to go within with honesty. This is something we haven't brought up before, and this is a great opportunity for us to be able to explain to you all what a compulsive liar is and why. People don't lie because they have great lives. People lie because they do not feel like they have good lives, so they must lie to be able to tell stories and be creative about their way of living. This is not uncommon for many children to want things that they do not have, and so they create the reality of wanting certain things. They're not trying to be deceitful, they're trying to get what they want in a manipulative way. They want certain things, so they will say certain things, hoping that they will not get caught out. Their agenda is not to deceive. They are merely trying to manifest something that is out of their reach. So they will lie innocently because they want second helpings of ice creams, for example. So they will be convincing you they haven't had their first round. They will have selective memory. And so these are innocent little lies that they start off with because they are wanting something and withholding the truth. They know that if they told the truth about having already the first ice cream, chances are they would not have access to another one because somehow there is a limit to how many ice creams one child can have per day, and they know this rule. And so they may decide to pretend that they have forgotten and it was a different day that they had that first ice cream. They will want to convince you of this because they are desperately wanting another. And so they have motivation. And so when you have adults that have had trauma in their childhood, or they don't have the life that they want now, they will continue on this behavior and pattern. They think that they're quite convincing with their lies. They want to claim that they have certain education, certain awareness, certain connections, even to us, for example, and they will use that and boost and boast their egos to convince you that they know as they should. And so, of course, we know the truth because we see it, and we know the records and the history of everything that has ever happened in your lives, and this is recorded. And adults who don't realize that this is recorded happily go away in their lives lying as much as they need to be able to get what they think is going to be rewarded to them. Victims who feel like they have had injustices, for example, for one thing, may not feel like they get the support and the attention and what they need. And so they will be creative with their perception on the world. There is some, of course, different perceptions where they may not feel like they're lying. It is just a different perspective of others. And so again, it is going to the movies and three people watching the same movie and having a different takeaway. They have opinions about it, but what is their opinion saying to you? Those people who need to lie about certain things are trying to get attention that they are seeking. They don't realize why they are even lying. Many people create stories of being victims to get attention. And yes, there may have been a situation where they truly were a victim at one stage, But because they were not nourished and supported in that, and potentially not centuries, I guess even could be centuries ago, if they were not believed in one lifetime and it cost them so greatly that they could want to keep seeking truth this lifetime and being respected this lifetime, so they will get it any which way it is. They will do anything to get what their needs are met. And so for those people who have not done enough inner work to empower themselves and to be honest with themselves about what is really going on with them, they will want to use labels to be able to justify what's going on for them and why they can behave in certain ways. We see many people using their mental health as labels, as a justification of why they are behaving and reacting in certain ways. And we see this often. It's not quite an excuse, but it is almost justified as. And when you know what we know about the body and how you can create illnesses and discomforts and diseases, it's really all on to you. Now, did you create your own life contract to have a certain disease to learn and grow from it? Yes. While you're living that lifetime and having the 3D experience and having those emotions about feeling hard done by having that, yes, people do feel hard done by their life's servings. But given the fact that they have written their own life contracts and they are creating the lives that they have as adults now, everything is their choices, and everything you are now is the sum of all of your choices you have ever had to get you there. But of course, if you're in victim mode, you will feel like, well, I wasn't in full control of my choices. I just suddenly arrived here today with all of my lack and all of my problems, and they want to share their lack. They want everyone to feel sorry for them because of their own lack. So when you see people who are justifying because of their labels, justifying because of their lack, justifying because of their health issues, for example, why they can't do certain things, it could even be their age. It could be so many things that people will put in front of them as an excuse of why they should be doing their inner work. And from our perspective, there is nothing blocking you from doing your inner work. Only you are blocking yourself from doing your inner work. And so this is why we find it interesting that many adults will still lie, many adults will still judge and ridicule others who are doing their work. And so we see it all, and we don't judge. But when those people are lying about others to try and boost themselves, to make themselves look good, they're really disempowering not only themselves, but they're disempowering their integrity. They're disempowering that person. And it's a very negative cycle, and we see many people looping in negative cycles. The blame game, the victim game. If you could all be honest with yourselves and with each other, we would have shifted a very long time ago. Easily, you would have evolved quite quickly. So the problem with not loving yourself and not doing your inner work is you have childlike behaviors. And you can go and do creative things like lying and limiting your perception so you can feel justified to where you're at. And we see so many justifications of why people are wanting to be small. And you are often, we see that everyone at some degree has blamed someone really for your own choices. Everything is your own choices. But when you feel disempowered and when you do not like your own choice, you will blame others as if you were being coerced into it, as if you were being forced into it. You were the victim here. And so time and time again, we see many people have choices that disempower not only themselves, but others. We want people to stop and think and question why. We all know that you've all lied at one point in your life, or many times in your life. Think about the times you've lied and why. What were you really seeking? What were you really wanting? Did you lie to not have an argument? Did you lie to go with the peer pressure? What was it that made you choose to lie instead of saying your truth? You may not have an opinion on someone's genes, for example, but you say, yes, that looks great, because you're being polite. Or have you felt so jealous, threatened, and angry that you're lying about others to bring them down because you are threatened and hurt, comparing yourself to others? Every time someone lies, this is a great opportunity to see where your inner work still is. Be honest with yourself. You can. But you're not hiding anything from us. And we want to say there's a lot of us. There is a lot of us looking on at your choices. And it is always interesting that you don't see that you're holding back your truth. And you need to be in so much love and balance to have that inner peace that you can just accept everyone is where they are at, accept yourself at where you're at, knowing that you have daily triggers potentially to be able to overcome them, empower yourself through them and learn the lessons. Understanding that sometimes challenging and difficult experiences are for those lessons. We provide you all of these different experiences, not for you to get stuck on them forever, but to remind yourself of the density of those emotions. Everything is practicing to master the third dimension in the density of emotions. We've told you so many times that hurt people, and it's the truth. You see this time and time again. You know when you have been hurt yourself, when you're still in that thick of emotions, you lash out at others. You potentially blame others, either for not helping you or doing this to you. We want you to have a more balanced perspective of your own reactions, others' own reactions. You're projecting your own inner issues onto each other, trying to get attention, trying to understand it, trying to get support, trying to get sympathy in some cases. What are you still seeking from others? Because ultimately it all can be provided within. So are you spending too much time trying to get support from others versus trying to go within and get support from us? We see many of you are almost ashamed to go within because you know that you have done things that are not of a good moral compass. And those are teachable moments for you. But are you going to forgive yourself and step up and move forward and heal what needs to be healed, address whatever needs to be addressed, apologize for whatever needs to be apologized, heal from whatever needs to be healed, forgive whatever needs to be forgiven? Are you going to learn from these lessons, or are you going to repeat them and repeat them and repeat them and be so focused on your problems and your issues and your lack that you will not be able to expand and grow and keep a high vibration? It is important for you to be honest with your emotions, honest with your reactions, honest with your integrity, honest with your agenda. Really look at yourself, because others are looking at you, including us. Many feel triggered by us because we are pushing them to be honest and to be able to have integrity and to do your inner work, and they're fed up. They don't want to. They don't want to be responsible for their own lives. They don't want to be responsible for their own actions. In fact, they're actually quite annoyed. How dare we suggest for 1 minute that they be accountable? And we're saying from our perspective, if more people had been accountable for their actions, humanity would be in such a different place. So many different planets would be in such a different place. If there was accountability, if you're going to play a villain, fine, own it. But it is the way that humans react to each other and communicate with each other in such a low, deceptive way. You're all bleeding your inner work onto each other from time to time. And we are watching this, observing. We know your agenda. Most of you who have been in that very hurt reactionary state are blind to it, because all you can focus on is your own pain. You're trying to figure out how to get out of your own pain. And so often you think, instead of growing out from your own pain, you're going to inflict pain on others, and then you want everyone to be at your vibration, your density, because you don't ultimately want to be alone. You don't want to raise your vibration and be empowered. You feel stuck and disempowered by your own choices, by your own actions, and then you invite others to come to your pity party because you want to empower and impact others the same way. You want to disempower and impact others in the same way. Again, hurt people hurt people. And you've all experienced it, whether you've either done this yourself or you've been experiencing the other way, where people have reacted and hurt you because they're lashing out. And again, question all interactions with each other. When it feels like this is a cry for help, question why. Don't react to it, because that is just going to buy into the drama of it. I'm going to send out energy throughout this whole session, so those who need to know what part they're playing in this will feel the twinge, the guilty conscience. Not because we want to trip you into guilt, but because we want to help you and assist you in being honest with yourselves. And we know many are not wanting to be honest with themselves, but this is the time to do it. How could you possibly be able to get through your inner work when you cannot be honest with yourself? What are you afraid of? This is an interesting conversation with us. We were wanting you all to know that as we see many who are trying to deceive and belittle and judge and hurt others because of their lack of inner work, we also would like to acknowledge those who have done so much of their inner work that they want to shine and love and support and encourage and empower others. That is so rewarding to see, because your vibration is so high. You accept everything. You understand the purpose, the lessons, and the significance of all of the experiences, including the hard ones. You've put balance in there. You've put perspective in there. And you know that when you're stuck on something, it's because you have one aspect of a perspective, and you need to be able to expand and see more different perspectives to be able to grow from that. But you only can see one aspect of it. And that is truly where you get stuck. And many have been currently stuck there. Seeing the full picture is always more advisable than focusing on one small piece of the puzzle. You get much clarity when you look at the whole entire puzzle than just one abstract piece. Your inner work could be said as little pieces of the puzzle. What you have to acknowledge, address, find a home for, find balance for, find space for. So we want to congratulate all those honest people who have empowered themselves, who have done great inner work, who do truly connect in with us to be able to be of assistance and service, who get great guidance, who have love in their hearts for all. And they are true to their word, they are true to their agenda, they are true to their passion and thrive for humanity. They're not running away from anything. They are empowering themselves and others with ease and grace. And we love that. We love that. That is so remarkable, because we see that not everyone has chosen those choices. So they get stuck, as we have said many times. So we're hoping from this conversation, this will give you epiphanies of why potentially you have had certain conversations and reactions to people. You may have seen them in your lives where you have directly had conversations with them. You may have seen them writing on social media boards, for example, where they are very clearly showing where their inner work is still brewing for them, where they have to focus. And so you should know the difference between empowering people with truth and honesty and high vibrations versus showing the world your inner work and your lack. You should be able to fulfill your lack, just like you should be able to empower yourself. So of course, only people that are willing and ready to be open and honest with themselves would be able to continue on listening to our advice. Many people who listened about being honest with themselves freaked out. They stopped the video in case we were talking about you. All is well, but we want to remind you all, nothing goes hidden. And when everyone is able to look back and view actions and behaviors, it will be very interesting. Very big learning curve for many. And it is fine. You're human. You'll have quite a strong tendency to justify your own actions. But as you see, you're having to stand up and speak your truth. And as you see, you're having to empower humanity to be able to awaken up as gently as humanity needs. And so you know that there is responsibility here. You know your body is changing. You are naturally more open to many higher frequencies when you choose to be engaged in higher frequency behaviors and mindsets. So it's all very purposeful. Who is getting what information, who is getting what downloads, who is getting what support, who is getting what inner peace. But the density is making some people go a little bit stir anxious. And as they have not cleared their inner work, it is pressurizing them and they are starting to panic and they are wanting support and help. They don't know what it is, and so they don't know how to navigate through it. And so they're feeling very reactive. They're not too sure why they have such a reactive behavior and seeking out support. It's very challenging when you see someone seeking out support who is also hurting those who are trying to assist them in the support. Unfortunately, we see many divisive divisions in families as different people have different choices of what to do with their way of life and their bodies. And this conflict is quite challenging. If you could merely talk to each other with compassion versus trying to win an argument and to force people to listen to your own narrative. There's so many great ways to be able to have a true, honest conversation with people without it turning into an argument. And we've had this conversation with you before, but it sometimes trips you up when you're trying to share your truth and you feel like people are dismissing you and you're worried that you said too much. But trust that we are prompting you sometimes to share your feelings and thoughts, because sometimes those who keep to themselves don't share because they don't want to have those reactions. They don't want to have accountability for their own beliefs. They don't want to be responsible for their own beliefs, so they don't say anything. And that can be very challenging, to feel like you need to use your voice and stand up and have a voice and be heard. But you also don't want the impact of that. You don't want the responsibility of people hearing what you think and feel, because then you think you have to manage them and support and guide them. Find why you're still limiting yourselves, why you still are afraid to speak. It's really good to be mindful of your actions and reactions. We say this many times. So go now and ponder. Ponder if there is any fear you still have of speaking your voice and speaking your truth. Of course, you can always speak to us and connect in and share with us what you're thinking and what you're fearing. And we would love to have a conversation with you about that. We're asking all to have a conversation with us about your truth and your feelings and your thoughts. We would love to nurture you and guide you and support you in this. So we want to make this very clear. You get to connect with your own team and be supported and guided through your own team. It is possible. It is absolutely possible. We are finding many people are getting hung up on listening to us. And they're feeling frustrated that they have to do their inner work. And so they dismiss us because it's not coming from their intuition. They're listening to many influences and getting confused of how they're supposed to go. Going within is crucial for you all right now. But again, many of you are too afraid because you're afraid we're going to tell you off, or we're going to ask you, where is your moral compass when you were doing certain things? We want to guide you. We don't want to tell you off. So again, check where your moral compass is. Why are you blocking yourselves from us? We want to support you and assist you, but we can't do your inner work for you. We can merely give you suggestions and opportunities for you to ponder and think, whereas those sticking stones for you. And we hope that we've given you enough food for thought to ponder and give yourself some time to be able to truly, honestly go within and figure out, what is it that you need to release that no longer serves you? And where should you focus your attention? Where should you spend your energy? It's all exciting for you to discover yourself, and we encourage you to explore more. We say this with so much love.